So we'll just start a small kirtan, just while we're waiting for people to come in and settle down. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Aschachadeshatarine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Mới đánh lắm. Người đang gần. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Baladevi Jaya Subhadra Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshura Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Satyam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for coming here on this hot afternoon. You know, we've had a busy schedule and we've had a wonderful few days. It's been fantastic, it's been amazing. So now we're going to look at one of the poems that Srila Prabhupada wrote. So I'm not saying that I'm an expert in analysing and looking at Srila Prabhupada's poem. This particular one is called the Markine Bhagavatam Dharma. It's just that this one has I've always been very, very fond of this poem, and it really shows Srila Prabhupada's deep humility and deep faith in his beloved Sri Krishna, and his faith in his spiritual master as well, Hare Krishna. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read through the poem in English. I'm not going to do he originally wrote it in Bengali, and then since then translated it into English and probably other languages around the world. So I'm just going to read the English, and then we're just going to look at it and look at some verses from Bhagavad Gita, a few verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, just that help us to understand the deep humility and complete surrender and the qualities of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna. So this is just a little paragraph before the poem starts, just to give an introduction when Srila Prabhupada wrote the poem. On September the 17th, 1965, His Divine Grace, H.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, arrived in Boston, USA, on board the ship Jaladuta. He carried within his heart the orders of his spiritual master to spread the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the entire world. So the following poem, originally written in Bengali, perfectly illustrates Srila Prabhupada's complete humility and dependence on the Supreme Lord for the success of his great mission. So we know that Srila Prabhupada, upstairs in the mezzanine there, we see Srila Prabhupada's Jaladuta. So This is so nice to see. So when people come to the temple from outside, when people who don't have any knowledge at all about Krishna consciousness or Prabhupada's message, when they see that and you give them an explanation, it's a very good teaching opportunity for explaining about Prabhupada's message. So we'll start the poem and then we'll talk a little bit as we go through. So, verse number 1. This is Prabhupada's poem. It's a prayer. It's Srila Prabhupada praying to Krishna. It's not that he wrote a poem thinking, oh, I'm going to share this with people. He wrote a poem from his heart. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. So this is just before he stepped off the ship. He'd arrived in Boston Harbor. He'd had 35 days on the Jaladuta. It had been an arduous journey. His health had suffered a great deal. He'd had heart attacks. He had suffered severe seasickness. So he had a real big crisis in his health. And now here he was. It was a cargo ship. It wasn't even a luxury cruise or a comfortable ship. But he'd gone on. He'd gone on that ship. And now here he is, just about to step up. Well, he did get off the ship at Boston, but he didn't disembark here. He went on to New York. But this is just before he sort of stepped into the land of USA. So he said, I don't know why you brought me here. Now, Krishna, you can do whatever you like with me. So I took a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text number 57, which shows Srila Prabhupada was totally in line with the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, and he was following to a T. Where Krishna says in 1857, the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, the final chapter, Krishna's given all his teachings, and now here he comes, summing everything up. And the last few verses he's saying, Krishna says, in all activities, just depend upon me, and work always under my protection. There was this great thing. So Srila Prabhupada was really embodying that message here. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Be fully aligned, in other words, with the desires of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada shows that in his first verse. My dear Lord Krishna, so kind upon this useless soul. I don't know why you brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. So he's totally aligned with Krishna. And just another point as well. Prabhupada says, you are so kind upon this useless soul. He'd just gone to an arduous journey. 2 heart attacks, he just said. Seasickness, where he felt very ill for several days. So his health had taken a turn for the worse. But he's not saying, oh Krishna, why did you give me a hard time? Why did you make it tough? Why did you make the sea so rough? No, you are so kind to me. So he's not looking at the bad. It's like he's finding some gratitude. Yeah? What was that expression? We might not have gratitude for what's happening to us, but we can find some gratitude in what's happening to us. So he's still seeing the kindness of Krishna. He's still seeing the hand of Krishna. And the next line, Srila Prabhupada says in the next line, but I guess you have some business here, otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? So remember, he's coming from Vrindavan. He's coming from India. He was born in Calcutta and he lived in India. Then he took Vanaprastha and went to live in the holy land of Vrindavan, in the Radha Damodar temple. So what a wonderful atmosphere that was, with the samadhis of Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami's there, and the beautiful deities, Radha Damodar, and so many other wonderful deities, Govardhan Shivas. Every day he was leading a very spiritual, holy life. So the thought of coming to the West, he's never left India before, first time he's coming. No, he's got 40 rupees in his pocket, which is actually useless. So he's actually got no money, he's penniless, his health's had a bad turn. He's never left India before, and so he's saying, you must have some business here, otherwise why would you bring me to this terrible place? So it's done. India's lovely and warm. USA, very cold winters. He's going to spend a couple of winters there, practically by himself in New York. So he knows it's not going to be a bed of roses when he gets here. Then the next verse, let's move on. Srila Prabhupada says, most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva. I do not know how they will be able to understand it. So here Srila Prabhupada is really expressing his feelings of helplessness in getting them to understand that they're completely tied up in the modes of material nature, goodness, they're not in goodness, are they? Passion and ignorance, he's saying. And this is all they know. This is what they believe. I'm this body, this is my life, I want to enjoy, live life, enjoy life, like that. And then, so we quote now, I'm quoting now from Bhagavad Gita 7:14. You know, Prabhupada's saying they're absorbed in material life. So we know from 7:14, Daivihiya Shagunamayi Mama Maya Duratya Mame Viye Papatyante Maya Maitam Tarantate. This divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. But one who surrenders unto me can easily cross beyond it. So Srila Prabhupada, he's saying that they're covered with, you know, ignorance and passion, absorbed in material life. They've got no knowledge, how am I going to give them the transcendental message of Vasudeva? How am I going to give this to them? I don't know how they'll understand it. So he's recognizing that everybody's completely tied up and bound up in the material world. And now his third verse. Then he says, but then his dependence on Krishna. But I know, Krishna, your causeless mercy can make everything possible, because you are the most expert mystic. So he knows that Krishna is beyond all that. Most expert mystic, Yogeshwara, okay? Master of all mystics. So he's recognizing Krishna. And when we again look at the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, the very last verse in the Bhagavad Gita, where he says, wherever there's Krishna and Arjuna, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power and morality. So Prabhupada understands this very deeply. He has complete faith in the words of Krishna. So he knows that it's up to Krishna. I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible. You're master of all mystics, you're Yogeshwara. Okay? So he's calling out to Krishna in this way. Verse number 4. Then he says, how will they understand the mellows of devotional service? Oh Lord, I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. So he's asking for the blessings of Krishna, he's asking for the mercy of Krishna. The mellows of devotional service, this is what we understand as we're reading, we're studying the scriptures, that what are the mellows of devotional service? Dasya ras, Shanta ras, Vatsalya ras, Sakya ras, Madhurya ras. How on earth are they ever going to understand these transcendental mellows? Okay. I'm simply praying for your mercies. I'll be able to convince them. I don't think I can do it on my own. I need your help, Krishna. So again, we can look at Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 7, one of my favorite verses. Now I am confused about my duty, and I've lost all composure because of weakness, because of my silly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple, and soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So Arjuna also prayed like this. Arjuna was a mighty prince, a mighty warrior, been trained in the military art all his life. He was an expert archer and all that. But when he had to fight with his relatives and uncles and cousins and brothers on the battlefield, he became confused about his duty. I don't know what I should do. And this is actually a beautiful verse that we can all, I hope, you will take this verse, because often in times in life, we also get confused about our duty. Should I do this? Or should I do that? So both things you could do. It's my duty to look after my family nicely, but it's also my duty to go to the temple or whatever. I mean, this is just a small example. But when you're going through real confusion in life and you don't know what to do, just pray this verse to Krishna and let him guide you. So it's a great one. Kalpanyudosho bhata swabhava prijjamri tvam dharma sambuddha chedaha yasyastan nistitam bruhitan me shishashteham shadimam tvam prapanam. To surrender to Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada was imbibing this in his prayer. I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I'll be able to convince them about your message. Right, we'll go to number 5. Then Srila Prabhupada makes this statement here. All living entities have become under the control of the illusory energy by your will, Krishna. And therefore, if you like, by your mercy, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. Okay? So Prabhupada is acknowledging that Krishna is in control of everything. Bhagavad Gita again, 1861. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesha arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudani mayaya. So Krishna, in this verse, is saying Krishna is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So Krishna, by your will, you're having them tied up in this material world. By your will, if you want, you can release them. So Prabhupada is showing, he's recognizing that Krishna is directing the wanderings of all living entities. Verse number 6, Prabhupada wrote. Prabhupada next says, I wish that you may deliver them. So he's saying, Krishna is acknowledging that you're directing everyone, but my desire, Krishna, please deliver them. I wish that you may deliver them. So he's shown here his great compassion. Didn't have to come to the West. He could have stayed in India, perfected his human form of life, got back home, gone back to Godhead. But out of compassion, because he wanted to follow the order of his spiritual master. His spiritual master had told him on that very first meeting, Altadanga Road on the rooftop, more or less quite soon after he came into the room, you are an intelligent young man. You are an intelligent young man. You should spread this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the English-speaking people of the world. Srila Prabhupada was troubled. And he directly spoke to him, gave him a direct message straight away. And then, over the course of time, Bhaktisiddhanta again gave that same message to him on 2 or 3, 4 occasions. In a letter once, Srila Prabhupada wrote him a letter quite nearly when Bhaktisiddhanta was going to leave this world. He wrote him a letter and said, my dear spiritual master, how may I serve you? He answered and replied, teach this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the English-speaking people of the world. So Srila Prabhupada took that message right from that first time he met him on the rooftop of Altadanga, and he kept that with him in his heart. He said that he accepted him as his spiritual master at that moment. he knew that this was a very special saintly person. He didn't join the ashram. He didn't live as a full-time devotee in the temple. He was a working man, he was a pharmacist, he had his own business, he worked in different ways, he travelled around the country, he had a family, he had children, so he knows what it's like to be in Grihastha ashram, the struggles that we go through. You know, so Srila Prabhupada, he went through all that as well. Okay, but we were saying about Srila Prabhupada's great compassion. I wish that you may deliver them. Then the next line. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. So he's recognizing that Krishna, you're in control. I feel I want to help these poor living entities who are suffering, but it's up to you, Krishna. It's by your will only, otherwise it's mission impossible. You know? So he's making a petition here for Krishna to help. Okay, number 6, line, shloka number 6 that Prabhupada wrote, yes. Oh no, that's 6. Number 7. Or then he's making another statement. What? Okay. The words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation. And if a sober person repeatedly receives it with submission and reception, then he will be able to understand your message. So he had complete faith in the Srimad Bhagavatam as well. Remember, he'd lived the last few years in Vrindavan, and all the time he was translating Srimad Bhagavatam, taking the help of the previous acharyas, purports, and he was painstakingly, not with electric devices that like we've got now, but you know, I think one finger, I don't think he even did touch typing. I used to do touch typing, yeah? But I think it was probably like one finger typing, Olivetti typewriter type of thing. I think there is one up there, isn't there? So, an old-fashioned type. So Prabhupada was studying the books, translating the purports, and doing this continuously while he's in Vrindavan. But he was also going to Delhi regularly, undergoing a lot of hardship. He had no money, he didn't have a pension, he didn't have anything to fall back on. So he'd go to Delhi, he'd sell a few periodicals. Well, first he had to print them in Delhi, then he had to sell a few. He used to go to coffee shops, tea shops, and show them these like magazine, please buy this, you know, and he'd get a few rupees, and he'd go back. And then he, all the time, he got a few sponsors, a few people came forward to help him in different ways. But it was a struggle. He was by himself, and he had to do everything by himself. Okay, so he had great faith in the words of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He'd read Srimad Bhagavatam, he'd understood the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, and he had complete faith. If a sober person means, you know, thoughtful person, repeatedly receives it, so keep hearing Bhagavatam, with submissive oral reception, then you'll be able to understand your message. So he had faith in the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why he'd come with the Bhagavatam, he'd taken, you know, his boxes of books with him and brought them on the cargo ship. Okay, so I've got one quote here from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, text number 3, 43, where it said, this Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by... Did I write that down somewhere? Oh, I did. This Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of this age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So he had complete faith in that. So Srimad Bhagavatam. I need to not take too long because there's another class at 6. There's another class at 6, isn't there? Yeah. So I'll just keep an eye on the time as well. There's so much we could say really, isn't there? We could talk about that. Okay, that's number 8. Okay, then Srila Prabhupada proceeds to quote directly, this is his poem, right? He's writing in his own words, and then after that one, it's said in the Sri, then he says, the words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation. So the person hears them, they will become purified, they will be able to understand. So then he actually quotes the verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1 to 17 to 21, and this forms part of his poem. And that's very typical of Prabhupada. He's always evidencing this stuff. When Prabhupada gave lectures, he would always give evidences from this Purana, that Purana, this Bhagavad Gita. He's always quoting. So he's always got substance, substantial. It's not his own whim, it's not his own concoction. Bhagavad Gita as it is. So Prabhupada was very strong on that. So here he's quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam. So one of the verses that we often quote before we recite Srimad Bhagavatam, or quite often, Shrivata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtaya Vidyantakshtoya Bhadrani. It's a term, I can't remember it this minute. But yes. But we've heard it so many times, it's a beautiful verse. And then, so the meaning of that verse is, this is what Prabhupada is quoting, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, the super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee. So the benefactor is always the well-wisher, always wanting the best for the truthful devotee. So this super soul within the heart cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So we quite often recite that before we do the Bhagavatam to help us remember and realize the benefit of chanting Bhagavatam. And then he goes on to quote the next one, another one that we've heard many times. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. So sometimes we quote these shlokas, but we forget what the meaning is. Okay? So I'm just going to read the meaning of that one now. So these come one after another in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the meaning of that Nashta Prayeshu. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart is practically destroyed, and loving service unto the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Irrevocable fact means you can't move it, it's going to stay there. So he's proving his faith in the words of Srimad Bhagavatam, that once they hear this message of Godhead, once they hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, and if they can render a little service, chanting Hare Krishna, serving the pure devotee, then they'll get it, they'll get the message. At that time, loving service is established in the heart. The modes of passion, rajas, and ignorance, tamas, and lust and desire disappear from the heart. Remember earlier he'd said that these people, they're so entangled with passion and ignorance, how will they understand? But then he's saying, well, Srimad Bhagavatam says, you know, once they hear the message of Bhagavatam, then they can get rid of all those. When loving service is established in the heart, the modes of passion, ignorance, lust and desire disappear from the heart. Hence why it's important for us to keep reading and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Either come to class or go online and listen to the Srimad Bhagavatam, or do your own personal reading. But it's very important. They're so potent, these scriptures that we've been given. Okay, then he goes on to quoting the next few verses. I'll just read the English. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes happy. Thus established in the mode of goodness, the man, rejuvenated by loving service to the Lord. So rejuvenated means given new life, given real life, breaking them free from conditioned life. Thus established in the mode of goodness, the man rejuvenated by loving service to the Lord gains liberation from material association, mukti, and comes to know scientifically of the personality of Godhead. And thus, the knots of the heart and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions, karma, is terminated when one sees the self as master. So the self means the soul. When we stop identifying with our designations, our upadhi, our material conditioning right now, which is very hard to give up. But the message here is, Srimad Bhagavatam, study regularly, then all these things will become much easier. And then we'll become established in goodness, and when we're established in goodness, we can think clearly, and we become naturally happy, satisfied, no matter what condition of life we might find ourselves in. Okay, so that's Srila Prabhupada. That's his quoting. Then he goes on to number 9, is verse number 9, where Prabhupada's like summing up what's been there. He will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus all inauspicious things accumulated in the core of the heart will disappear. So he's showing his faith again in Srimad Bhagavatam, his utter faith in the words of Krishna. But then his next verse. Then he's appealing to Krishna. How will I make them understand the message of Krishna consciousness? And then his humility. I'm very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. So you see Prabhupada's great humility there. Although we know he's not unqualified, right from a child he's been worshipping Krishna. Never was there a time when he was not Krishna conscious. But here, in this appealing to Krishna, he's feeling helpless. He's not feeling good enough, he's not feeling capable, he's not feeling worthy. So he's asking, he's begging for the blessings of Krishna so that he can do it. So then he says, so first of all he says, I'm useless, I'm unfortunate, unqualified, most fallen, and therefore, Krishna, I'm seeking your benediction so that I can convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. So it's complete dependence on Krishna. He's seeking a benediction, he's asking for empowerment, he's surrendering unto Krishna, really deeply from the core of his heart. And this is just a prayer he's making himself. So he's not trying to impress anybody else. This is him, how he's feeling that utter helplessness. And I think we all feel like that sometimes, at times in our life, yeah? Especially when we're asked to do some task that's quite daunting, like when I had to do this. I pray really hard to Krishna. I don't feel qualified, I can't do this, but please make my power of speech suitable for understanding. So when we're feeling like that, it's not a bad thing, as long as we turn to Krishna, yeah? But we don't sort of wallow in that unworthiness and go away. No, Krishna, Krishna, you help me. So Prabhupada's praying for empowerment. Okay. Sorry, bear with me. Then this next line. Somehow or other, O Lord, You have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it's up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. So it's not he's not feeling it's his qualification. He's not feeling that, oh, I'm clever, I'm good at organizing things. No. He's saying, it's up to you, Lord, to make me a success or failure as you like. So that's a big one. He admits he's not the doer, in other words. So let's have a look at Bhagavad Gita 3:27 and 28. What's that one? I got that one down. Just start me off, I forgot it. 3:27. What's that? Prakriti kliyamanani gunai kamani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kataham iti manite. Read the English? Because my mind's gone blank now.
The spirit soul, deluded by the influence of the false ego,
So the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Yeah. So Prabhupada's he admits that he's not the doer. I'm not the doer, Krishna. You are. You're in control. You can make me a success or failure as I like. I'm powerless on my own. I've got another quote here, 1861. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam. Is it? Oh yeah, we quoted that one earlier, didn't we? Klidesha Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan. So seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So Prabhupada's really embodying these teachings of Bhagavad Gita. He knows he's not the doer, he knows he's powerless on his own, and he knows that Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, Supreme Lord, is situated in the heart of every single living entity. And again, we can look at Karpan Yudosho Bhata Subhava. So again, now I'm confused about my duty. I don't know how to do this. You can make me a success or failure as you like. It's up to you, Lord. I'm depending on you right now. And I've got another verse here, 10:10. Bhagavad Gita, Tesham Satata Yuktanam, Bhajatam Pritipurvakam, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, Yena Mahabhayantate. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Yeah. So Prabhupada is embodiment of all these wonderful verses from Bhagavad Gita. Then he carries on, kind of in the same mood. 11, this verse now. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. So he's again asking for empowerment. He's asking to be a transparent medium. He's asking the Lord to work through him. I'm not the controller. I'm not the doer. You please work through me, Lord. I recognize that you're the supreme personality of Godhead in all this. He says, O spiritual master of all the worlds. So we could look at, oh yes, that's it, Arjuna's verse, when he speaks, he says to 10:12, isn't it? Or did it? Where, oh yes, is that opulence of the Absolute? Have we got 10:12? Where he says, Param Brahma, Param Dharma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. Did I write that one down? I wrote it down. Param Brahma, Param Dharma, Pavitram Paramam Bhavam, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. Beautiful verse. Where Arjuna, he's been so bewildered, Krishna's given him so many teachings, and then he starts to get it. He says, Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, you're the purest, you're the absolute truth. You are eternal, transcendental. You're the original person. You are unborn. You're the greatest. So Arjuna calls Krishna like this. So Srila Prabhupada is calling him, O spiritual master of all the worlds. So it's kind of like saying all those things there. So he's recognizing. I can simply repeat your message. If you like Krishna, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. It's not me. I'm not the doer. It's you, Krishna. Number 12. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel engladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. So that's a beautiful one. So he recognizes that this message is very important, it's very potent. The message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very potent. And I know it will work once they get the message. It will free them from all unhappy conditions of life, and they will get the message. I've got something here. I'll carry on. Can't quite understand my notes. Sorry. Okay. Okay. We're coming to the end now. So he's coming to the culmination now. So he's praying to Krishna, empowerment. He's praying for Krishna to make him a transparent medium so the Lord can work through him. I can't do it on my own. And then he says, Oh Lord, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance. Oh Lord, make me dance as you like. So I think this morning Mataji, she talked about being like a puppet, a marionette on strings. So this is what Srila Prabhupada put. Look, I just want to be your puppet. You work through me, Lord. You guide me. You make me. I'll do what you want. I want to do what you want. Only if you work through me is this possible. So he's complete, utter dependence on Krishna there. Actually, this is one of my favourite lines that I often pray to Krishna, you know, when I'm feeling, well, I just often pray to Krishna because I want him to work through me. I want his will, not mine, your will, not mine, not my desires. But I've come to a different stage of life now. I've been through the family life, the working life, and so many things and so many troubles that we have to go through, so many social obligations, so many difficulties, so many things we have to do to keep other people happy, so many responsibilities. And now I've come to the stage of Vanaprast. So this is actually, although the downside is you've got an old body that you have to drag around, but the good side is that there is some freedom from responsibilities, you know. And it's good to take that because we can stay entangled with our children. They're always needy, right? Our grandchildren, always needy. And of course, I give my grandchildren and my daughter my love, and I help them out where I can. And I don't, because I think that's a very important role as well. The grandparent role is very important. But at the same time, you know, I've come to the stage where I don't want to be overly dependent, or them to be overly dependent on me. It's my time now. It's my time to do. And what do I want to do? I want to serve Srila Prabhupada. I want to do something to help his mission to go forward. You know, so that I do pray like this sometimes. Oh Lord, make me a puppet in your hands. Make me dance, make me dance, make me dance as you like. You know, beautiful. Number 14. Oh, this is his last line now in the poem, where Srila Prabhupada is again showing his complete humility. This is Srila Prabhupada saying, I have no devotion. I have I do not have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I've been designated as Bhaktivedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta, the name Bhaktivedanta. What humility! I have no devotion. He's had a lifetime of devotion, born into a pious Vaishnava family, good parents who guided him in devotional life. I think it was his father or his mother prayed, I think father prayed to all the sadhus, used to bring sadhus to the house and serve them, and then he said, bless my son that he can be a pure servant of Radharani. So he's had the blessings throughout his life. But here he's feeling, internally, he's feeling bereft. He's feeling, I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge. He's very knowledgeable. Prabhupada could sit there and quote from so many scriptures without referring to the books and notes. He didn't use notes. He knew the scriptures. He studied from the previous acharyas, and he was very, not just knowledge, but vigyan, realized knowledge, and he was very able to spread that. But he's saying that I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the devotion. He's wanting Krishna to work through him and share that with everyone. But I do have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. So somehow or other, his strong faith is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message is Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nashyeva, 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 Gatirindita. In this age of Kali, so again, he heard this from his spiritual master. He imbibed this by studying scripture. In this age of Kali, Lord Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu out of his compassion, trying to reclaim all the fallen, conditioned souls, give them a chance, out of his love, out of his kindness, always want to bring them back. Kali Yuga, very fallen age, quarrel, hypocrisy, so many distractions. Kalo Nashyeva, Nashyeva, Nashyeva. In this Harinama, 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 3 times emphasized. There's no other way, just chanting holy name. And even if we're not chanting the pure name all the time, because it's very difficult when we're struggling with the senses and the mind, if we're not chanting the pure name. Still that the holy name is purifying. So even when you're going through the phases of life where you're struggling to chant your 16 rounds or whatever is your, however many rounds you've vowed to take, to do every day, just do it. Even if they're not the purest of pure rounds, because eventually you will get there. Keep chanting Hare Krishna, do your japa to your best ability in the morning, associate with loving devotees, hear classes or read scriptures, offer some service to the deities, offer some service to your local temple, offer some service to your fellow devotees, and we're assured success in Hare Krishna. We just have to stick with it, to the good times and the bad. Okay, nearly finished. Prabhupada says, I've been designated as Bhaktivedanta. So Bhaktivedanta, his very name, a title is given, Bhakti, devotion, Vedanta. Veda means knowledge, Anta, the end of knowledge. So the final conclusion, the final end of all knowledge is Bhakti. So that's what the whole aim of Harinama and the whole aim of all doing this is that we can reawaken that love for Krishna. Just like we see that utter love and faith that Prabhupada has for Krishna. So we also want that to develop more and more, so that we fall in love with Krishna. Prabhupada said that one day we eventually will fall in love with Krishna. We might be doing sadhana bhakti, and we should fall in love with Krishna and enter into an intimate relationship with him, according to what is our eternal, what's the word? What is our eternal relationship with Krishna, which may be different. Well, it's different for everyone. We won't go into that now. But that's the whole Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti, devotion, love. We're all looking for love. But the only place we can get real love is when we repose that love in a loving relationship with Krishna. Not to minimize relationships in this world, we love devotees. We care for every living entity, actually. And when a pure devotee on that level has love for everybody, genuine love for everybody. So Prabhupada says, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signs, and he signs off his poem. The most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th of September, 1965. Haribo, so that complete humility of Prabhupada. The most unfortunate, insignificant beggar. So that's how he's feeling at that moment when he's praying like that to Krishna. He's imploring Krishna to help him. Please empower me, let me do your will. I can't do it on my own. Please Krishna, you help me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Kanaya, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadeva, Gornitai, what's it called? Nitai Gorangarai, Ki Jai. So that was really good timing, yeah? We finished exactly on time. Hare Krishna, thank you. And thank you for sharing this little afternoon, this hour where we're glorifying Srila Prabhupada and looking at his inner heart and his inner humility and surrender to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. What, are we here for the next session? Okay, Hare Krishna. So it appears that the next speaker is not exactly here. What? I thought there was a 6 to 7 one. Yeah. So who's that? Oh, we're doing a panel now. Oh, okay. Okay. So where's the panel? Okay. All right. Okay, so we've got a few moments while we're waiting for Nitai Sevani Mataji to come and whoever else is going to be on the panel. Apparently it seems that Jagatarani is very tired, so she might not be able to make it. It's the first time I'm meeting Jagatarani, actually. I have met her once before, but she doesn't remember it was in the crowd. And I only found out yesterday that when she was a young woman of 22, she was sent to Hong Kong. You knew that, yeah? I didn't know that. She was sent to Hong Kong, and there she met her husband, got married, and then they were preaching there. She was 22 years old. So a very surrendered soul. Spent 6 months in Perth and 6 months in Vrindavan at the foot of Govardhan. They do these Govardhan retreats. Again, I've not been on any one, and I'm hoping we get the opportunity now. I'm in the Vanaprasthi stage. I can go on these retreats and try and enter into more deeply the message of Krishna. Govardhan now. So is anybody, while we're waiting for everyone to assemble, okay? We can have a few questions. Have we got another mic at all? Mic. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have a burning question to ask you.
Oh.
When you read the Sri Prabhupada's poem, and how do you relate to it when in your younger days, when you started to travel to an unknown place like Malaysia, and how did you feel about that?
Yeah, that's actually interesting because I was also 22 when I left. I was 22 when I got married, and then, but very shortly after that, I joined the temple with my husband, and then, So I would have been 26, 25, 26. And when we got the opportunity to come into Malaysia to help register the society here, to come and establish a centre here. So I remember when I'd heard of this poem before. I never studied it so deeply as I have done, you know, sort of lately. But I always remember that part about make me a puppet in your hands, make me dance as you like. That had sort of resonated with me and stuck with me. And I remember when I was on the aeroplane coming over to Malaysia for the first time, it was a great adventure for us. We were excited, but it was also a bit scary, you know, a bit unknown, going to a foreign country. We didn't have much money with us or anything like that. And I took those two lines from that poem, and I recited that before as we were sort of descending in the plane, coming down to Malaysia. So, because I thought, we were very inexperienced, not like Prabhupada, who was saying I'm unqualified, but we actually were unqualified. We'd got no experience, we were young, and we hadn't had any training or anything, but we had complete faith in our spiritual master, and so that's why I prayed like that. Make me a puppet in your hands, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance as you like. So it's a beautiful prayer, it's a beautiful poem. You can look it up on Markine, on the internet, you can see it. But even if you just take a few of the lines, please, it's up to you to make me a success or failure as you like, Krishna. I mean, I prayed like that before I gave this little talk, because I'm just not, it's not something I've done a lot in my life in Krishna consciousness. I was always more in the background, helping out here, there and everywhere, trying to do what was needful. So it's a bit of a surrender for me now to sit here in front of the microphone, in front of all these faces. But you're such kind, loving people that it makes it possible for me to dare to sit here and do it. But it is, you know, by praying for the mercy of the Lord. And I hope and pray that I can go on and do more of this. And I think the more I do it, the more it will flow a bit easier. Yeah? But she's such a good speaker. She's so good. I've been so inspired by you. Hare Krishna. I've listened to your lectures online as well. You managed to get the points over so simply that we can really relate to it and bring it into our lives. So, and that's valuable, isn't it? It's not just a philosophy, it's how we can imbibe that in our lives. Hare Krishna. So, are we with you now?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, thank Mother Janaki for the class on Prabhupada's famous poem.